All right, folks, it is Mock Draft Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for a brand new one round mock draft for the 2025 NFL Draft. A lot of movement this past weekend with the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Titans, falling down to the fifth pick. The Jaguars had held on to the first overall pick for several weeks, and now you've got the Raiders and the Giants, two of the most quarterback needy teams in the NFL, sitting in pole position at 1 and 2 with their opportunities to go get quarterbacks without having to potentially trade up. So we're going to get this thing started, right? Personally, for me, if you've been paying attention, I don't think that a quarterback is worthy of being the number one pick or the number two pick in the NFL draft this year. But because of the nature of the business, because quarterbacks are the most coveted position in all of sports, you're going to see Shador Sanders. You're going to see Cam Ward come off the board early. You might see another quarterback or two come off the board fairly early as well. And we're going to talk about that here today. I think I got a little bit of a surprise in store for y'all. If you enjoy the content here, please like, comment, subscribe. It is all draft all the time here at Rogue Football. So getting into this one, Las Vegas Raiders. There's been a lot of courtship, it feels like, between the Raiders and Shador Sanders. It makes too much sense from a, optics standpoint. So we're going to go ahead and get that done, even though I probably have Shador Sanders as my QB3 in this draft. Got to be quite honest with y'all. So getting into the New York Giants pick. This is where things get interesting. Cam Ward would be the consensus selection, would be the easy selection here. I wouldn't be surprised if throughout the college football playoff, throughout the draft process, some more folks start thinking the way I am a little bit and putting Drew Aller as QB2. Drew Aller out of Penn State is a 20-year-old quarterback, has an absolute howitzer attached to his right arm. He's big. He's got the ability to throw it off platform, to throw at odd arm angles. You saw him make some absolute game-changing plays against Oregon, even though they weren't able to win that game. Drew Aller, at 20 years old, in my opinion, should be in the conversation for QB1 this year. And right now, my list would be Cam Ward, Drew Aller, then Shador Sanders. I think Shador Sanders has the ability to be a starter in this league. I just question the upside. Cam Ward, there's clearly upside. I question the floor a little bit with some of his decision making, the lack of a real NFL offense, but we're going to go ahead and put Drew Aller in New York. Brian Daboll's still the head coach. Will he be next year? Who knows? Drew Aller to the New York Giants, and now they have somebody with a cannon who can get the ball down the field to Malik Neighbors. I think that's pretty exciting. Now the Patriots sit here at 3. They don't need their quarterback, right? They've got their quarterback of the present and the future in Drake May. Do they potentially trade down? Does a team say, wow, Cam Ward's still on the board at 3? That is shocking. We're surprised that this happened. Maybe we want to trade up and make sure we can get Cam Ward. I think that's a real possibility. And you look at the Titans, the Jets, the Browns, any of those teams could be candidates to potentially move up for a quarterback. We're going to go ahead and just say it's the Titans this time, right? So we're going to trade New England Patriots trading down with the Tennessee Titans. And for the Patriots, this just represents an opportunity to add. They've got some serious areas of their roster that they need to improve, and they have a ton of cap space to do it. They absolutely will. But gives you the ability to add even more talent. So we're going to get 6. We're going to get 37. And we are going to get another 4th round pick from the Titans. I think that makes a lot of sense right there for both sides. And then the Titans, they get an exciting upstart. Look, Will Levis, I don't think he's the answer. I never have. I think Cam Ward gives you a shot with his athletic tools, his ability to throw off platform, his ability to play make. Maybe in a Brian Callahan offense, Brian Callahan can kind of figure this thing out and get the best out of Cam Ward. That would at least be the hope for the Tennessee Titans there. Then the Panthers, Bryce Young is looking like he could be the answer for them, which is very exciting. There was so many folks completely out on Bryce Young. I've always been a big fan of his game. They can go ahead and take the best player available in this draft class, and that's Travis Hunter, whether they're playing him at corner or helping Bryce Young out as a receiver. Either way, I'd be good with it. I think that's a great pick for them. I did my Jaguars mock draft. I covered the Jaguars as well this morning. Had them taking Tedero McMillan at 5 overall. We're going to stick there. I just think having Brian Thomas Jr. and Tedero McMillan catching passes from Trevor Lawrence, that sounds like too easy because look, one thing the Jaguars have really failed to do during Trevor Lawrence's time there is give him adequate tools at the receiver position, especially outside receiver. And so now they are going to take what was a weakness entering 2023 outside receiver and make it a massive strength with Brian Thomas Jr. and Tedero McMillan, two players that complement each other very well. In my opinion. So now the Patriots are sitting there at 6. They've been able to trade down here. For me, you're looking at Mason Graham, Abdul Carter, Will Johnson, or Will Campbell. Will Campbell would be selected to play guard. I have him as a blue chip guard prospect. I think Will Johnson is a prototypical cornerback prospect. Right now, I have him as a blue chip guy. We're going to need to see him be able to, find his health, get right during the pre-draft process, and make sure he can go and do all that good stuff. Abdul Carter has developed into a blue chip prospect for me as well, coming off the edge for Penn State. He is an unbelievable talent, so athletic, so gifted, he has violence. Explosive violence and the ability to win in a lot of ways on the edge. And he's just shown so much development with his hands over the course of the year. And then Mason Graham, the best defensive lineman in the class, another blue chip talent for me. Patriots fans, I think, should be happy with any of these guys. I do think potentially landing Will Campbell because he represents the best ability for you to actually help Drake May, protect Drake May, could be enticing, but I do have him just a little bit lower on my list than these other three. I think Abdul Carter has the most game-changing potential, and so that's why we're going to take him for the Patriots there at 6 overall. The New York Jets at 7. Obviously, they could use a quarterback of the future. Will Jalen Milroe enter this draft? I don't know. Beyond that, you don't have any options, in my opinion. Carson Beck, he's not a day one pick right now. Quinn Ewers is not a day one pick. Will Garrett Nussmeier enter this draft? I don't know, but I don't think he's a day one pick. Jackson Dart, no. So, after those top 3 we talked about, I just don't see it. Could Mason Graham pairing him up with Quinnen Williams be fantastic? Yes. I like the idea of pairing up Will Johnson with Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, an impending free agent. So, recreating a dominant secondary cornerback room could be great for the New York Jets there. Cleveland Browns at 8 overall. They could use Will Campbell, Mason Graham. I'm going to go Mason Graham, interior defensive lineman for them who has the flexibility to line up anywhere. And I'm not saying versatility, I'm saying flexibility within his frame to line up, at 5 tech, 3 tech, 4-eye, line up over the center, whatever you need him to do. Mason Graham can do it. And he's violent, flexible, great pass rusher, great run defender, all around prospect. Will Campbell to the Chicago Bears. I like that fit. Whether they're playing him at tackle or guard, they need to protect Caleb Williams much better, and I think Will Campbell helps them do that. And he also will create a lot of push in the run game. Kelvin Banks is the next tackle available. I don't think that we're doing that for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, do they lose T. Higgins? How do they improve their defense to the best of their ability? There's a lot of different things they need to do. This is going to be a pick for me. James Pierce Jr. has gotten disrespected throughout this draft process, in my opinion, and I think he represents the type of edge juice that they really could use. Trey Hendrickson getting up there in age, and they just need more pass rush, and James Pierce Jr. gives them that. I think that would be a fantastic pick. And then the New Orleans Saints, I think Nick Scorton is just such a New Orleans Saint-type edge rusher. So big, so physical. So is Shamar Stewart, who we've got listed here as a defensive lineman, but I think Nick Scorton has just a little bit more refinement to his game. He's also younger. He would be a great heir apparent to Cam Jordan, in my opinion. Now, the common pick to the Cowboys is Ashton Genty, but they could use a lot. They really could use a lot of different things here. And so we're going to send Luther Burden to them. I think that Luther Burden, pairing him up with CeeDee Lamb, getting Dak Prescott, another explosive receiving talent. And look, Missouri has not used him properly at all. I think he's got the ability to do everything on the football field from the wide receiver position. He just wasn't asked to do enough at Missouri. And so I think that would be a fantastic fit for them. Miami Dolphins, this is a fit that I love. Malachi Starks to replace Javon Holland just makes too much sense for me. Indianapolis Colts. We're going to go back to back safety. Nick Manwari, could he be Gus Bradley if Gus Bradley's still there, which it seems like he probably will be, but who knows? Nick Manwari, could he be his next Bam Bam Cam Chancellor? I think he has the ability to do that. He's such a good tackler, so instinctive, so smart, makes great plays on the ball. He's explosive. He doesn't have like elite long speed or quickness, but I think in a specific role that you could use in the Gus Bradley defense, absolutely. And now the Falcons, Michael Williams falls to them here. I think they got to run the pick in because they just need more talent on the edge. They absolutely do. They've been needing it for a long time. And Cardinals, they could absolutely use, maybe a offensive tackle of the future. Kelvin Banks makes a lot of sense for them. I like that fit. I like in this range, Kelvin Banks makes sense to me. I really don't think he should be like a top 5, top 10 type of pick at this point yet. A fit that I absolutely love. I think I saw it in maybe Ryan Wilson's mock draft. Josh Simmons to the San Francisco 49ers. Him learning from Trent Williams with Josh Simmons' length and athleticism and physical traits, I think could be dynamic. Could be really exciting long term. And he is coming off the ACL, so you got to weigh that as well. But I think he was heading towards being the top overall offensive tackle in this class before the ACL. The Rams, Ashton Jeanty would be fantastic, but they've invested a good bit at the running back position as of late, so I don't see that happening for them. Tight end, certainly Colston Loveland. Yeah, I love that fit. Colston Loveland with Sean McVay dialing it up. He's such a talented receiver, both from a technical standpoint, development. He's got all that as a receiver. Great hands, great size, great athlete. I think that could be fireworks. Love Tyler Warren. Love Ashton Jeanty. Those are my top-rated players here. How about Ashton Jeanty to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Yes, they got Bucky Irving. Yes, they have other needs. I think he's a dominant player, Ashton Jeanty. Why not? That'd be a lot of fun. And then a long-term 1-2 combo of Bucky Irving and Ashton Jeanty. And I know they have Rashad White as well, but I think that Jeanty really brings another level of skill to that football team. Washington Commanders, I think Emeka Ibuka makes a lot of sense for them. I think he complements Terry McLaurin's skill set, gives you a intermediate and underneath target out of the slot that I think is going to just be such a good pro at the next level for a very long time. Jaden Daniels throwing him the football makes a lot of sense. Los Angeles Chargers, this is a good spot for Tyler Warren. Would have been a good spot for Loveland. Loveland doesn't really play with that nastiness and grit that you expect from a Jim Harbaugh type of player. He's much more of that pure receiving tight end threat. But Tyler Warren is a do-it-all offensive weapon that I think Jim Harbaugh would absolutely love to see him in that powder blue. Denver Broncos, they could have also used one of those tight ends. They could have used Emeka Ibuka as well. I don't think that, you could go Isaiah Bond. I would have some questions about it at this point. He hasn't had the production you would expect. He hasn't been targeted as much as you would expect at Texas. At tight end, I know a lot of folks love Harold Fannin Jr., and he's an interesting prospect, but it's a weird prospect. I think he's playing in the 220s right now, so is he really a tight end? I have some reservations about taking him this early. I do. Could they look at offensive tackle for a long-term solution? I know they've got a couple guys right now that are stalwarts there for them. They could have used an Ashton Jeanty, certainly. This is a tough spot for them. A little bit of a tough spot for the Denver Broncos. And so we just need to kind of refer to my big board, in my opinion, because I am the one running this draft here. Tell you what, I think Walter Nolan deserves to go higher than 22 in this class. I think Kenneth Grant does too. Kenneth Grant, more of your nose tackle prototype. Walter Nolan, more of your 3-tech prototype. I think Kenneth Grant is a little bit more consistent of a player. but at a little bit less valuable of a position. So that's a hard foil for me. We're going to go Kenneth Grant. Why not? Big beef eater who has crazy flexibility at his size, like 340 pounds. That'll be a lot of fun. The Seattle Seahawks, Abe Lucas has dealt with a lot of injury. Maybe Cameron Williams makes sense for them. They've got to protect Geno at all costs. Baltimore Ravens, yeah. Jalen Walker would be a lot of fun for them. That would be a hell of a fit. They could use a good amount of help across their offensive line, and Tyler Booker sounds like a Raven, honestly. I could see that too. But to me, Armand Membu is just such a undervalued player at this point in this draft. I think that would be a great fit for them. He's playing right tackle. I think he can play guard for you as well. Houston Texans. Walter Nolan at 3-tech for them. Learning from D'Amico Autry for a little bit. That could be nasty. So could Tyleek Williams. I think Tyleek has a little bit more flexibility and versatility in his game than Walter Nolan does. We'll go Walter Nolan. Wreaking havoc in AFC South backfields for the Houston Texans. Green Bay Packers, obviously, everybody points to cornerback for them. Siobhan Ravel's still on the board. I'm going to throw out a little bit of a wild card here. Darian Porter, who's not coming off injury. Former wide receiver who has crazy hip fluidity and quickness at like 6'3", 6'4", 195 pounds. He's been as shut down as they come this year at Iowa State, and I think the ceiling is pretty much limitless for Darian Porter at the cornerback position. Ravel to the Steelers makes a lot of sense. They need corner. They could also use a receiver to pair up with some of the guys they have right now. I know defensive line's listed, but is Cam Hayward really going anywhere? You obviously have Keanu Benton, who I'm a big fan of. I like all these. I mean, Shamar Stewart's really more of an edge, in my opinion, but he could line up on the interior in certain packages. But Tyleek Williams, Derek Harmon, I'm just such a big fan of Tyleek Williams. I think he kind of has that Steelers nastiness and grit, too. I think learning from Cam Hayward could be fantastic for him. Vikings need corner help. They absolutely do. Jalen Walker would be a hell of a fit, though, wouldn't he? Man, he would be a hell of a fit in Brian Flores' defense. But we got to go corner. We're going to go Siobhan Ravel, who's a great fit in this defense as well. Supreme athlete, great length, coming off the ACL. That's why you're able to get him at that spot. There is a Notre Dame secondary player that I've been looking at that's not named Benjamin Morrison that I think is a really interesting and good fit for the Buffalo Bills, and that's actually Xavier Watts. I think he would be fantastic for them long-term at safety with his kind of he has huge playmaking ability, but he doesn't have like that prototypical center fielder speed and athleticism, maybe hip fluidity. But in the Bills defense, I think he could be one of those difference makers, a real difference maker for them. Philadelphia, there's another fit that I've been kind of eyeing here. Marcus Mbo going to Statland University is a pairing I absolutely love. Mbo has flashed the ability to, snatch trap, independent hand usage. He's an elite athlete at the position, whether it's tackle or guard, and they're going to have some long-term needs potentially at both spots. I think Marcus Mbo would be really special there. Kansas City Chiefs, they could use some help on the offensive line, no doubt about it. Ariante Ursary, I would have some reservations about it at this spot, but hopefully DJ Humphries, he's only 30 years old. Hopefully DJ Humphries can be their option or their answer. We're going to find out more about that as the season progresses. They could also use a big-time corner. I think Azareye'h Thomas would be a perfect fit for them. With his length, his press ability, I could see them falling in love there. Yeah, we're going to go Azareye'h Thomas and hope that DJ Humphries can lock it down for a couple years. And at 32, what do we have? the Detroit Lions doing. I don't think Jalen Walker will last to this point. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I I don't think he's an elite edge. I don't think he's an elite linebacker, off-ball linebacker. So I think he's very unrefined. I think he's just more of an athlete at this point. And you also have like Jihad Campbell in that mold as well. Oh, I know what we're doing. Shamar Stewart. And I don't think he'll last that long either. I don't. But that would be a tremendous fit. His physicality and length and nastiness, ability to set the edge across from Aiden Hutchinson long term. And I think that Dan Campbell would love him. So, recapping this mock draft, Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders, Drew Aller, big surprise there, to the New York Giants. Cam Ward, the Tennessee Titans trade up to land him. Travis Hunter to the Carolina Panthers. T-Mac, Tedero McMillan to the Jaguars. Abdul Carter to the Patriots. Will Johnson to the Jets. Mason Graham to the Browns. Will Campbell to the Bears. James Pierce Jr. to the Bengals. Nick Scorton to the New Orleans Saints. Luther Burden to the Cowboys. Malachi Starks to the Miami Dolphins. Nick Manwari to the Colts. Michael Williams to the edge-needy Atlanta Falcons. Kelvin Banks to the Cardinals. Josh Simmons to the 49ers, one of my very favorite fits, and I also love the fit of Colston Loveland. To the Rams, Ashton Jeanty to the Bucks, Emeka Ibuka to the Commanders. Tyler Warren to the Chargers. Kenneth Grant to the Broncos. Cameron Williams to the Seattle Seahawks. Armand Membu to the Ravens. Walter Nolan to the Texans. Darian Porter to the Packers. Tyleik Williams to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Siobhan Ravel to the Minnesota Vikings. Xavier Watts in Buffalo. Marcus Mbo to the Eagles. Azaria Thomas to the Chiefs. Shamar Stewart to the Detroit Lions. Really appreciate y'all supporting this channel. The growth has been absolutely amazing lately. If you enjoy draft content, you are in the right place. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this mock draft. Y'all have a good one.